In the first part of this tutorial, we created the sketches for a lo-fi album cover. In this second part, once we have chosen our illustration from all of the sketches, we're going to perfect it and add the final typography. We are creating a square file of 300 dpi. If we just want to use it for a digital media, we'll leave the file like this. But if we want to print it, we'll add a few millimeters of bleed. For the artwork, we're going to start with the color. I'm not going to start with the line work, as I might do some kind of discontinuous line instead of close lines. I'll also use a dark blue or purple to do that instead of pure black. We'll continue building the illustration with color blocks until every corner is filled. We'll leave the intricate details for later. For now, we're just focusing on completing the fundamental shapes outlined in the sketch. Next, we are going to introduce shadows and lights using various shades to enhance contrast and bring variation to different elements within the illustration. We can add shadows to the doors of the building facades, as well as adding some extra details so the illustration doesn't look plain. We can use some special brushes to enhance specific details like the clouds in the sky or the windows of buildings. This gives your artwork that extra bit of character. We are going to put some handwritten text on our neon signs and work on the other signs to fill the illustration with light. We'll use the neon colors of our palette to create the sign's reflection on the pavement and also to bring light to the building's windows. This deliberate use of color adds dynamic lights and effects to your overall scene. Once we are done with the color, we'll add some lines where we think we need them. If we're satisfied with the visual aspect of our illustration, we'll proceed to integrate the typography. Be aware we can make some adjustments after the addition of the text, in case we feel both elements clash too much. If we finally choose an illustration that's quite busy, we might want to use a typography that's very simple. I'm going to use a sans serif typography that's quite thin and has a rounded look. If our illustration has a very handmade look, we might also want to use a typography that has the same handwritten style. We are done with the cover of our album, so now we just need to export it, keeping in mind the platform we want to be using our cover in. We want to check if there is a preference when it comes to size and resolutions at the platform of our choice, so we can export the file to those exact measurements. Otherwise, we're going to just be exporting it as a JPG or PNG. We'll go to File, Export Single Layer, JPG. Click Save and then select the specified resolution. We're going to use at least 72 dpi, but as I will probably use the cover art at a higher size, I'm going to export it at 150 dpi. In case you want to print the file, we can also use JPG. If we're printing it at home, we'll use 150 dpi, but if we're going to a professional printer, use at least 300 dpi. We'll click OK and we are done. Now the only thing that's left is uploading the music and our cover art to our preferred platforms. We can also use those images for a social media or a personal website.
Clip Studio Paint.